I'm Tom, Happy New Year! The bass line that I have for today is Disco Ulysses by Vulfpeck. It's a masterclass in funk and disco songwriting, but there are a lot of unique little twists that Vulfpeck do to make it far more interesting, and in a future video I really want to break down what those kind of techniques are. There's two bass lines today, there's part A and part B, and as you play through the track it'll become quite clear which one's which. So I'll play through the bass lines at a few different speeds, and I'll also give a tutorial on some things to kind of keep an eye out, and also just some things which I find interesting about the bass line, and then you can incorporate maybe into your own bass lines. Alright, so here it is. Now in terms of technique, in part A we have a little bit of vibrato here, and in a later part as well, so that's fairly standard. Joe Dart puts those vibrato notes in quite a few of his bass lines. Now in part B we have these octaves. Now these octaves with the two notes at the top are so difficult to play. Now I watched Joe Dart in slow motion, you can see that here. When he plays a low note, he uses his middle finger and then uses his index and middle on the high notes. And personally, I found it easier to kind of play index on the low note and then the middle and index on the high notes. But whatever you do, when you're practicing this bass line, it's important to just make sure that you're practicing that consistently. So you could do an exercise. So you can use your muscle memory so you don't get caught out, so you're always playing it consistently. Now one way you can go about modifying the bass line so you can still play it even if you're struggling with those two fast notes at the top, is just playing low and then play the octave. And that still sounds really cool and really passable as a cool bass line. So yeah, that's something you can try as well. Now before we continue, if you do want more content like this, do consider subscribing to this channel. So part A, which is played while the guitar is more dominant, plays more of a supporting role. So it has like little walks up and down between the root notes. Part B is far more difficult to play, but also, I guess, more interesting. So we're still playing mostly with the same root notes, but this time we've got those octaves. And in between the root notes, we've got these cool little runs as well, like here. One thing I found really interesting is that over this D sharp minor 7 chord, while the guitar is playing a D sharp minor 7, in the part A, we're playing an F sharp, which ends up making that the combination of the D sharp minor 7 from the guitar and the F sharp from the bass makes it overall an F sharp major chord. Whilst in the part B, over that D sharp minor, we actually are playing a D sharp. So it says D sharp, D sharp here. So it's most kind of minor touches to harmony which kind of make it interesting between the two different parts. Now, if you want printable PDFs or guitar profiles from today's lesson, they're available on my Patreon page. And a big thank you to all my Patreons for giving me a chance to make this channel possible. And an especially big thank you to Robert, my VIP Patreon. Have a fantastic year, stay safe, and here's some other videos you might find interesting.